Okay, we're finally getting down to how these things, how these taste in food kind of matters in politics. So, in 2008 was in 2008 presidential election between Barack Obama and John McCain. They had became known as the Great Veggie Controversy. So in a speech, Obama made the kind of throwaway comment, anyone here go to Whole Foods lately and see what they charge for arugula lettuce? You can tell that's not what I eat. McCain responded, Obama is wine-sipping Ivy League liberal with a taste for fancy overpriced lettuce. And his education, ordinary people can't identify with Obama. It's just those coastal elites who have fancy salad who can um, identify with Obama. And they kind of use this as as a kind of a wedge issue that if you're an ordinary person, you don't want to vote for Obama. And one of the things we have to look at, though, is why might liberals prefer arugula and conservatives prefer iceberg or romaine or a more ordinary lettuce? Why might that happen? So we're gonna kind of take a step back in order to take a step forward. So we can correlate a bunch of different things. Um, when they look at preferences, we know that iPhone users are more likely to prefer Macs than PCs. This isn't a big leap. People in the iPhone, who use iPhone tend to be embedded in the Apple universe. This next one, though, is more interesting. People who use iPhones are more likely to enjoy Rice Krispies and British Broadcasting Channel shows. Here's another one that doesn't have anything to do with iPhones. Conservatives prefer to have an obedient dog, where liberals tend to prefer to have a friendly dog. So the kind of dog breed you have may may be a choice based on your political ideology. Um, so then, how do we apply this to food preferences? Well, we know that liberals tend to prefer arugula by a 2-to-1 ratio of conservatives. Conservatives like beef, liberals are more likely to be vegetarian. And here's the deal: liberals are more likely to seek out and try new and novel foods. This then corresponds with the openness trait in the ocean distinction that we did back at the beginning of this lecture. And so we do see that that your likeliness to be open um, corresponds with your likeliness to be liberal, and your level of openness also corresponds with the food choices you make. So, in sum, this is why that infographic existed, because there is a real reason why liberals like some food and conservatives like other food. Um, the so how do we use any of this? I mean, why is this even useful? Well, we can categorize people according to preferences, just like we categorize them according to race or gender or age. Um, and the preferences then extend beyond food. So we can have a correlation of car choice. Um, so we know, I think we'll get this on the next slide, but um, Republicans tend to prefer Porsches, and liberals tend to prefer Volvos. If you're given a chance to rank a bunch of cars, if you're conservative, Porsches are going to rank high with you. If you are liberal, Volvos are going to rank high. Another example of this is your bedroom organization. The researchers have done studies where they do a um, ideology test, and then with the permission of the subjects, will go into their bedrooms and look at how organized it is. And conservatives tend to have much tidier bedrooms on a drop-in visit than do liberals. And this can correlate with the conservative need for order in society, and so they bring that order into their bedrooms. Um, but we know that these kinds of things extend beyond food. But the characterization is very useful for political actors. So the Republican Party, the National Republican Party, commissioned a car choice study and found this that I told you, that liberals tend to prefer Volvos and conservatives tend to prefer Porsches. This means that just like you might target women with a certain kind of political literature. Conservatives can now target Porsche owners or people with interest in Porsches with political information. So it's one more type of category that can be used, and categorizing food choices can be a very powerful political tool. It can identify maybe pockets of potential voters that you haven't seen before. So if you see arugula spiking in a neighborhood, maybe the Democratic Party needs to be doing get out the vote efforts in that neighborhood. Actually, I have no idea if arugula is still a new and novel food like it was in 2008, but that's the idea. It can also help you motivate voters. Once you've identified voters, you can mobilize them. Um, Finally, let's look at the limits on this food preference thing. Um, Food preferences distinguish liberals from conservatives. It is a moderate but statistically significant variation. The It is not true that everybody who eats fancy salad is liberal. I mean, we see ruthless studies said 2 to 1 conservative, but that means that 33% of the people who eat arugula are conservative. So it's not definite in any more than being an Irish Catholic makes you a Democrat, or historically has. Um, Food choice, additionally, that we've mentioned this, has been shaped by social and family environment. So favorite family foods can influence your taste, even if you wouldn't have had that particular taste outside of just based on your genes. Another thing are social trends. So I taught junior high for a couple of years, and when I was teaching junior high, I don't know if this is still true, but the really hot thing were hot Cheetos. That almost every kid in my class had a pack of hot Cheetos at least once during every school day, and so this is like a really, really popular trend. Um, there are people who like spicy food, and there are people who do not like spicy food. But junior hires are nothing if not subject to the whims of their peers, and so there may have been kids who wouldn't normally have eaten spicy foods who did because everybody else was doing it, and then develop a taste. It's not necessarily a genetic taste, but because they associate it with that time in their life, or just because by the time they get used to something, they like it. They are now eating hot Cheetos throughout their life, and so these two things are social and family environments that can affect taste completely outside of your taste buds. However, taste buds are biological. There's probably nothing more biological than your tongue, and so if there is a correlation between um, taste buds. I mean, if there is a correlation between the kind of food you eat and the kind of ideology you believe in, that is fundamentally a political biology question.